This week on the podcast for new all-age comic books for the week of October 3rd, 2018, Star Wars Millennium Falcon, Troll Hunters, Rainbow Bright, Halloween Mini-Comic Fest, and much more. Hey, YouTube, I need to do that again because I'm recording this also for the podcast, so hang on a second. This week on the podcast for new all-age comic books for the week of October 3rd, 2018, Star Wars Millennium Falcon, Troll Hunters, Rainbow Bright, Halloween Comic Fest, and much more. Take two. Now, hey, this is Trey with Daddy Mojo. Thank you for checking out the podcast this week for, you guessed it, the new all-age comic books for this week. How are you doing? You may say to yourself, where's your closest comic book store? Where is it? It's really close by, and it's really easy to navigate. Comic book store locator. Go there, type in your zip code, and odds are you have a comic book store within 5 to 10 miles. It's pretty close. This week, we're going to go over a handful of new comic books. They're gonna be great for kids as young as 5 years old. But the difference this week is that a lot of them, and I mean the majority of them, are Halloween mini-comics. And we're going to explain all what that is. Basically, it's a bag of comic books. It really sounds like some crazy geek fest, but it's really fun. It's the Halloween Mini-Comic Fest. It's for Halloween Comic Fest. Halloween Comic Fest is in October. And to help celebrate that, they sell these bags of mini comic books. They're small comic books, and they're really price affordable, price sensitive. They're great. They're only $5, and you get 25 comic books in there. And here is the situation list. There's so many of them this year that we're going to get. And if you're interested in getting any of these, specifically a couple of them that we're going to mention, I would get to your comic book store sooner rather than later, because these are the ones that are going to sell out first. First off, let's go over all of them. You can check out the website, HalloweenComicFest.com. And you want to go down to the mini comics. There are 12 of them this year. They're going to be released in those small packages. And Spook House is one of our favorites. If you look at the cover shot from this on the website or online, it does not look like an all-age comic book because it's pretty spooky. I mean, you're like, wow, that's legit spooky. Kind of scares me. But when you look at the content inside, it really is fabulous, spooky, all-age comic book scare fun for ages 8 and up. For example, our 8-year-old looked at a couple issues of Spook House and he was like, yeah, it's spooky, but it's not crazy scary. So it's age appropriate. Look for Spook House. Also look for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. These are the new Turtles. It's the rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. 25 comic books, mini comics, for only $5. And mini comics, they're about yay big, about the size of a banana, if we can do that. Also, Rocky and Bullwinkle. That one's going to go fast. And that one's going to be one of the funnier ones that some kids and some old school parents will immediately recognize. That's Rocky and Bullwinkle Adventures. It's a polypack bundle. Again, 25 of them in there. They're also going to want to check out Johnny Boo and the Spooky Tree Polyback. This is one of the ones that's going to be just sheer, goofy, crazy fun. That's going to skew a bit younger. So I guess even though in theory we say all ages, and these are good for all ages, some are going to skew just a little bit younger. For example, our 6-year-old may not be down with Spook House, even though the content would be cool for 6-year-olds. There's also a Nancy Drew, if you want to demo up a little bit, like for middle school. There's a Nancy Drew mini comic book pack. Over the Garden Wall has one also. And this is a great fantasy humor series that comes out from Boom Comics. Great stuff if you want something a little more grounded than, say, Adventure Time, but still very silly and very surreal. Check out Over the Garden Wall. And, of course, Archie. Those kids from Riverdale have one. Archie's Madhouse Mayhem. It's the Polypack Bundle. And, again, there are 25 issues in this. It's a mini comic. But you've got also Ghost Friends, if you want something with slightly more of an anime feel. Hollow Fields has a real hard anime feel. Now, I don't mean hard as an older. I mean, it looks more from the get-go like an anime comic book. Check that one out. There's also Zozo Zombie, which is legit. It's an anime. It's a manga rather. You look at it and it's like, oh, that's a Japanese manga, isn't it? Vamplets is also in there, and Vamplets is a really unique series. Think of My Little Pony. Girls like My Little Pony, but not every girl is going to like My Little Pony because every girl is not going to like the princessy vibe that throws off. For those girls that want a slightly darker vibe, but still all age friendly, check out Vamplets, and you can check this out any month, or better yet, pick up one of these the mini comic book packs for my Halloween Comic Fest for only $5, 25 issues. And we give these out to our kids' elementary school classes. We buy a handful just to give out through the year. And of course, during Halloween, if you come to our house, guess what you're getting? You're getting comic books. That's all you're getting. Because I don't want to be in charge of your dental bills. There's a lot of good stuff. But check these out at your local comic book store this week and sooner than later, because when they sell out, if they can reorder them in time, they may not get here or get there in time for Halloween, if you follow what I'm saying. But it's great stuff. So we're headed to the comic book store on Wednesday, which is New Comic Book Day, to see exactly what they have. And we'll do more on Halloween Comic Fest in a couple of weeks, because they've also got some really cool full-size comics that are great. And some of those are going to be great for younger audiences. I wouldn't say maybe all age, except there is a Hilo. There's one from Random House that has one of the best graphic novels in the business. Hilo, The Boy Who Fell to Earth. There's a sampler from him. There's also a Goosebumps full-size comic book and a couple others that we'll go through in just a couple of weeks. And I would never think that this would be a great comic book, but how about a comic book where there's nothing in there? Just blank. There are 3 of them out this week, and they're all from DC Comics. One is Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and it's part of their 24-hour Comics Day campaign. And it is just a Superman comic. Basically, it's a legit Superman logo, everything about it. It's $2.99, so it's less than the average or the normal Superman comic book because there are no images in it. There's no text. There's no story. This is a great comic book, in air quotes, for those burgeoning comic book artists, those burgeoning comic book letter or storyboarders or inkists, whatever you want to do. If you're curious and you're artsy and you've wanted to say, you know what, I can do it than those people, template, get going. There's one for Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And they're all blank, so it really doesn't matter what you put in there. You can buy them in there if you want to. It's your resume. So take it, practice, buy a couple of them because they're only $2.99. Why don't you do that? Another superhero book that's out this week that's even cheaper, and we love that, is this series. It's from back in the 70s, the What If series. And this one specifically is what if Jane Foster, Kirby, or I could show this to our 8-year-old. He would like it. He could read it and be really okay with the content in it. And there are a couple others out from the True Believers imprint from Marvel Comics this week that are really good. Did I say this week enough? I'm not sure. We're on Twitter. Yes, we are. We're also on Facebook. It's at Daddy Mojo or daddymojo.net on Twitter. And the podcast is also up if you want to do a search for it. Maybe share it with a friend. Man, that'd be super. We'd thank you with good karma and some cat emojis. This book collects a series of strips from a very popular comic strip. Comic strip that like goes in the newspapers? Something like that, and online. This is the 23rd collection from Sherman's Lagoon. It's the adventures of Superfish and his superficial friends. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor to this. There is some societal commentary, and I'll say this is kind of like it's a slightly more grown-up Zits. Whereas Zitz is a very funny strip for any age. Zitz skews just a little bit younger and just slightly younger. The Adventures of Superfish and His Superficial Friends, the Sherman Lagoons collection, it's going to skew just slightly older, and just slightly. Case in point, our 9-year-old, if he were to read any of these strips, he would want to laugh because the illustrations are really funny. But a lot of the humor he may not find funny. For example, I'll check out this strip from Amazon where one of the fish is saying they're talking about a library book, and it's one that was way overdue from a year ago. And the guy says, well, what is it? Maybe it's not due. And the turtle's all worried. He says, well, it's the Macarena for dummies. And the other fish says, I can't imagine them wanting that back. See? So there's a lot of dry, sublime humor that kids won't get, but adults will think is hilarious. And as a bonus, this is only $10 if you buy it online. And this is #1. It's funny. You know, Amazon has a category for everything. This is the #1 new release in hunting and fishing humor. And it is very funny. It's great stuff. Plants vs. Zombies. We often rave about this series of graphic novels. They're all original graphic novels. This one collects the box set. The box set #4. It has 3 different graphic novels from Plants vs. Zombies. Great stuff. This is a great gift. It retails for under $30, so it's for the fans. It collects The Greatest Show Unearthed, The Lawn of Doom, and Rumble in Lake Gumbo. Elementary schools love this series of graphic novels. I really like it. Middle school libraries are all over it. It's just a fabulous kind of tongue-in-cheek scary stuff where it's not really scary. It's not going to scare kids. Our 6-year-old can laugh at it. But it's got a little too much reading for the 6-year-old to really kind of say, oh, I can read this on my own and I'm a big kid. But he laughs at it anyway because of Zomboss and the illustrations. Plants vs. Zombies, the graphic novel boxed set. Edition 4. It's out this week. Craft books. This book we look forward to putting together. We haven't put it together yet. We've put together something like it in the past. This is the Star Wars Millennium Falcon book and mega model. Mega model. This comes with a book that is a proper book of sorts. It's got facts and stats on the Millennium Falcon, some activities that are going to make it slightly younger skewing because it is going to require some reading. The craft is the bulk of the book. It's about 90% of what's there. And it's cardboard. I was going to say it's like foam core, but it's cardboard. It's thick cardboard, maybe just under a 1/4 inch thick. So it's going to be durable and stay together. And it's also very detailed. We love putting these things together. We put together a couple of these. Here it is right here. Check this one out. It's going to be the same line like this, except this is Luke's plane. This one, the Star Wars Millennium Falcon book and mega model, it's a slightly thicker thing because as you can see from this is more kind of it's legit cardboard. What's in this book is much thicker, almost like foam cardboard, but it's not foamy. You got to touch it to see exactly what it is, but you can find it in bookstores or comic book stores and check it out. What we do when we make these things, because we want them to stay together, we put them together, but we also put just a little drop of glue where we plug it in just so it stays together. And even when our kids make it, because our kids have made some of them in the past, we go behind them with their permission and glue it together. And it's not like we're the overbearing dad who never wants their crafts to come apart. We want them to do the craft, but we want it to stay together. This book is, they say it's okay for ages 7 and up. And we're going to let our 7-year-old try and do it with our assistance. I think he'll get a little frustrated because our 7-year-old is not really an arts and crafty guy. Our 9-year-old, our newly 9-year-old, he would love this. So he may get a shot at that. That's the Star Wars Millennium Falcon book and mega model that's brand new this week. It retails for $20, I believe. Let me check the back. Price not there. But you know what? Based on the, here we are, 18 books, $18. So if you buy it through some of the links, it'll cost $15. There you are. This series on Netflix, fabulous, utterly fabulous. This is a brand new graphic novel, Troll Hunters, Tales of Arcadia. Wow. Hey, if you haven't seen the show, watch the show because the show is really quite beautiful. It's well told. It's more of an action animated series that is great, but it's got Guillermo del Toro's stamp on it, where when you watch it, you know there's a deeper grain of quality running through it. And that, I think, is his stamp. This graphic novel is also from Guillermo del Toro and Richard Hamilton. Retails for $10. 75 new original pages about love, teen love. Specifically, what's going on is Jim Lake. He's a teenager, and now he's got an official girlfriend. Wow, she's been given a title. So things could change, and there are also some big nasties that live underground that want to do harm to the city. However, this graphic novel in this series, the graphic novel is called The Feld, and that has nothing to do with a puppet metaphor, I think. It has to do with rock monsters. It's a great series, though, and I have faith that this graphic novel is going to rock the house. What are you reading? When you pick up things from the comic book store, if you would tag them, hashtag NCBD, when you share them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you share them, if you share them, that'd be super, just so we can kind of follow along and see what you're doing. Maybe hashtag it also Daddy Mojo, so we can say, we're reading that too. We are. Anyway, thank you for watching and for listening. This is Trey with Daddy Mojo. See you soon.